Hello and welcome to another episode of Rethinking Mental Wellbeing. This is our community podcast where we can talk about everything related to depression and anxiety. So my name is Andre and I want to thank you for being with me over the next half an hour as we share this space of lived experience where we can talk about how to live the best version of our authentic life. So, if you're ready, then I'm ready. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome back to Rethinking Mental Wellbeing. If you are here for the first time, then welcome to the show. If you've been here before, then welcome back to the show. Grief is a quiet storm, often unseen, and yet it permeates through every part of our being. It lingers in the space that another soul used to occupy. It echoes in the memories that we gently hold, etched in our minds, that we no longer are able to share with the soul that is no longer there. Grief is not just an emotion. It lives within the body, sometimes crashing against us like waves of pain, leaving us breathless. It carves its way through us, and some people can feel that in their very bones. It's an ache that will never leave. The weight of sorrow can be as real as a physical pain. There is a strange sensation in grief, like reaching for something that is no longer there, almost like a phantom presence that lingers, as if the person we've lost is just out of sight, just beyond reach. Our mind struggles to accept this absence, and in doing so, sometimes creates the illusion of the presence. This is love continuing to search for what it wants. This is love unable to process the loss that is now different. It is a disruption of the brain's internal map that is now different to the space that once held them. Now it echoes with the loss. The world has shifted, it has changed. Maybe we didn't ask for it to change. Maybe it feels unfair. We may be asking ourselves, why are we the ones that have to feel the pain of a loss that we never wanted to lose? In this episode, we're talking about grief, that sacred space between love and loss, between what was and what still lingers. So wherever you are, take a breath, settle in, and let's talk about grief. But not as something to be feared, but as a testament to the love that never truly leaves. This sense of loss is disorientating. It can leave us feeling unmoored, almost like we are floating in an unfamiliar sea, unable to find a way back to shore. The weight of absence is heavy. The presence that once was has now been replaced with a silence that now aches. This disconnect is profound because grief permeates into your body. It's almost as if your soul is trying to hold on to every thought of memory, every feeling of emotion, every thread of connection, stubbornly refusing to accept what now is, because to accept loss means that we think we have to accept the love that is gone. And for many of us, that is too hard to bear. And so life stops, tethered to the moments of our memory, that the soul refuses to believe that that space now exists with someone, where someone used to be. So grief is not just an emotion. It is a profound, intimate, and very personal journey. Grief reshapes us and it retreads our life because the world around us, the world that we used to know, has now changed. And now we need to learn how to live in the absence of what was, in the emptiness that speaks, an ache that lingers, a love that no longer has a place to go. Today we explore the space between love and loss, how grief transforms over time, teaching us to carry both love and sorrow together as it reminds us of what was and what still can be. And there's a deep loneliness as the world continues to move around us. We become frozen in time. It's a feeling of being unseen, unheard, maybe misunderstood as the world moves forward, but is indifferent to the fractures of our heart. The world will tell us that time heals all wounds, that you just have to move on. But grief does not follow a timeline. There's no right way to navigate its path. Some days will feel heavier than others. Some moments will bring unexpected waves of sorrow. One moment you may feel yourself laughing, feeling almost normal, and the next you are drowning in unexpected waves of sorrow. Triggered by the smallest of things, a familiar scent, a phrase spoken in passing, a song you didn't even realize had meaning until now. And that's often one of the hardest parts of grief. It's the unpredictability. There is no roadmap for this journey, no clear destination when grief finally releases its hold over us. This journey is uniquely yours. The way you travel it is uniquely yours. Grief does not stick to society's expectations. Grief is often misunderstood as it gets tangled in the myths and expectations of the world around us. We are told that there is a right way to grieve, a proper format, a proper pace, that we have to grieve in a specific order, a set of emotions that are acceptable. But the truth is, there is no wrong way to grieve. There is no grief that is too small, that does not deserve to be held. To grieve is to love in another form. It is transforming that love from what was to the same love, but expressed in a different way. To carry forward the pieces of what we have lost, and to always honor that place in our life. Grief isn't about trying to make the loss smaller, because making the loss smaller may feel like we're making the memory smaller. And if we're making the memory smaller, then we may feel we're making the love smaller. So the process is not to minimize anything, but to create a new life, a new way of being, even a new version of you around the loss. The grief doesn't change in size as you move with it. It just feels lighter to carry as you create a new version of you. The fear is lighter to hold as your heart catches up with your brain about what has happened, about what you have lost. So grief doesn't go away. It's not something you have to let go of. It's not something that you have to forget about. It will always be there, and it changes, and it becomes a shape under the new form of a different interpretation of that love. In today's society, it often demands resilience, urging us to mask our pain, to wear a smile. But grief doesn't disappear. It demands to be felt, to be given space for grief to breathe. It needs to be given space to be experienced. There's this beautiful quote that says, "We cannot heal what we do not feel." And so we have to name our loss, to give us space to exist. The world may not always make room for our grief, but we must. It matters, it is real, it is a love worthy of recognition. The stories we tell ourselves about our loss shapes the way that we carry it. And maybe we need to rewrite these stories with the truth that love does not end because something has ended. And in a world that fears sadness, we're often left alone with our grief. And if we are left alone in excess, the loneliness will deepen the experience of grief. Our grief is never meant to be carried alone. It needs to be held in the gentle hands of understanding and compassion. We are not meant to be islands of grief, but grief and loneliness may often be intertwined together. But connection is the thread that begins to unravel their hold. It is the quiet understanding of another person's presence. Connection is found in the hand that reaches out without needing to fix. It is in the unspoken words of "you are not alone." Grieving seeks compassion of presence. It seeks the quiet companionship of those around us who will not rush forward, that will not tell you to heal faster, to move on, to be okay. And sometimes the most healing thing is to have someone who understands, who can listen without the need to fix. Sometimes it takes the hand of those who have walked the path before us to remind us that we are not lost, to sit in the presence of others, to be compassionately seen and heard. This becomes healing balm for our aching soul. In some cultures, grief is not hidden away, but it's embraced as a shared experience. They come together to acknowledge the depth of loss, recognizing that when one person grieves, the whole community mourns together. And so there is healing being surrounded by those that say, I see your pain, I honor your loss, I walk with you. And in the absence of a village like that, we must seek out those who do understand. This could be a friend, counselor, a support group. Whatever it is, it needs to be an environment of empathy, of safety, through genuine and sincere connections. And in these spaces where grief is acknowledged rather than dismissed, loneliness begins to lift. The burden doesn't disappear, but it is shared. And in that sharing, a glimmer of light breaks through the darkness. Sometimes grief gets confused with our self-talk, and we confuse the message with the emotion, telling us that we are alone, that no one can possibly understand the depth of sorrow. It may tell us that we're not worthy, or even worse, that perhaps if we had done something differently, we wouldn't be in this pain. This could be the younger version of you whose father walked away, but you tell yourself it's because you are not worthy of love, that it's your fault, that you did something wrong. It could be a man who lost his wife, wondering if he could have done more to save her. Our minds create stories about loss, shaping our experiences of grief. These narratives can be harsh, turning our pain into self-blame. But these stories can be softened. They can reframe loss, to retell our story, to shape the way that we can heal. If we can learn to rewrite the inner dialogue, to hold ourselves with compassion, we begin to transform grief from a wound into a passage that connects love and remembrance and emotion together, that is wrapped around your new life as you move forward with grief. Grief is not a reflection of our worth. It is a testament of love. We grieve deeply because we have loved deeply. You do not get over grief. You do not move on from grief. What you do is you learn to move with it. You learn to make space for it. You allow it to be a part of you, but not as a weight that drags you down, but as a reminder of the love that once was. Grief will change over time. In the beginning, grief feels sharp, unbearable, like an open wound. But slowly, over time, maybe even without you realizing it, the raw edges begins to soften. The pain is still there, but it becomes something else, something quieter, something that no longer consumes every moment of your life. It becomes a part of the fabric of your soul. Loss becomes a part of your new life. It is woven in the way you now live as we create a shape of love to fit in our new version of love that we hold in our new life. So let yourself feel it. Let yourself cry. Let yourself scream. Let yourself talk to them and tell them how much you miss them. There is no shame or weakness in carrying sorrow. This is simply a reflection of the love that still exists. All you are trying to do is learn to wear it differently now. Healing from loss doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean moving on as if the loss never happened. It means learning to carry both love and loss together, to find ways to honor the one who is gone while still moving forward. And moving forward does not mean leaving them behind. It means carrying them with us in a new way. And amongst grief and sorrow, there is room for a new life. There is room for sunshine and sunrise. There's a room for moments that make you smile. Joy does not erase grief. It stands beside it. It is a testament to the fullness of being alive. We do not have to choose between remembering and living. We can carry both. To grieve is to love, to remember and to honor. It is the bridge between what was and what still is. Grief changes us, but it does not end us. It shapes us, but it doesn't define us. And somewhere in the midst of it all, we learn how to carry our love forward, to hold that space for all that was and all that will be. Grief is a love that changes form. It will linger in the spaces of what was before. It can feel disorientating. The experiences we once shared become sharp reminders. Grief does not always appear as sadness, and sometimes it is anger at the world, at fate, at the unfairness of it all. At other times, it feels like guilt, the relentless questions of what if only. These questions are impossible to answer, often trapping us in a cycle of continual grief. There's also another type of grief. One without ceremony, one without condolences, without rituals that marks its passing. It is a grief for the person we once were, or the person we never had a chance to become. This grief echoes in our thoughts of what could have been, of what should have been. This grief lays in the background of our life, reminding us of what we were told we were never allowed to be, either from ourselves or from other people. This type of grief lives in our fear and anxiety for not being heard, for not being seen, for not being valued, for not feeling love. This grief is for the person that we had to become to feel safe. And so we grieve and we mourn for the version of ourselves that we never had a chance to become, that we never had an opportunity to explore because that part of us had to trade to feel accepted, to feel validated, to feel safe. And we miss this person. We miss this part of us that we had to change to look after ourselves, to protect ourselves, to make ourselves feel safe. This part of us we had to abandon in order to survive. This authentic self that we had to learn to tuck away in exchange for safety or belonging. But it is always the part of us that is still wanting to be heard, to be seen compassionately and with kindness by the adult version of you. That authentic part of you that learnt to hide for safety is still there. It is a part of you. It is your authentic nature that is still wanting to be expressed. The grief of a lost authentic self can weigh heavy, but this grief doesn't mean that what you have is lost. It is the soul's way of calling us back home to our authentic nature, asking us to listen, to uncover the parts of us that we laid over to protect ourselves, to keep ourselves safe. But what it ends up doing over time is it now suffocates us. As we learn to live a life perfecting the art of how to create a well-placed, a well-seen social mask. This serves two purposes. One side for expression into the world, the other side to hide behind, to continue to protect ourselves, but not realizing that the very thing that we are hiding from is the very thing that we are needing. This means honoring the version of ourself that we need to become. This may mean forgiving the things that we didn't know, for the choices we wish we could change, for the paths that we abandoned. It means not being swallowed by regret. It is the understanding that every choice we make is creating a mosaic of life stitched together by all of our experiences. Learning to uncover our authentic nature is letting the adult version of ourself care for, look after, heal, and acknowledge the authentic part of us that never had a chance to become. But that authentic part of you is always whispering to you, I am here. Please don't forget me. As we desperately search for the world around us to find the very thing that our authentic nature wants from us. Compassion, to be seen, to be valued, to be heard, to be understood, to be allowed to be who we are, to give ourselves permission to be who we are, to be loved and to be safe. Our journey to create a life in our outside environment is often a construct of the life we need to construct in our inside environment. So in the same way that we have to grieve for a person that is now gone, we also have to mourn for the person that we didn't have a chance to become yet. learning to speak softly to the child within you who was silenced, to mourn and grieve for the person you forced yourself to be for the sake of acceptance, to mourn the paths that were closed. But do not let them keep you from walking forward. You are not lost. You are not too late. You are not broken beyond repair. You are now in the process of meeting your authentic self, your true self. You are returning home to you. The parts of you that you grieve for are not gone. They are just hidden. Jim Carrey wrote something about grief that I'm going to read off for you right now. Grief is not just an emotion. It is an unraveling, a space where something once lived but is now gone. It carves through you, leaving a hollow ache where love once resided. In the beginning, it feels unbearable, like a wound that never closes. But over time, the raw edges begins to mend. The pain softens, but the imprint remains, a quiet reminder of what once was. The truth is, you never truly move on. You move with it. The love you had does not disappear. It transforms. It lingers in the space of laughter, in the warmth of memories, in the silent moments where you still reach out for what is no longer there. Grief is not a burden to be hidden. It is not a weakness to be ashamed of. It is the deepest proof that love existed, that something beautiful once touched your life. So let yourself feel it. Let yourself mourn. Let yourself remember. There is no timeline, no right way to grieve. Some days will feel heavy. Some days will feel lighter. Some moments will bring unexpected waves of sadness, while others will fill you with gratitude. So honor your grief, because it is sacred. It is a testament of the depth of your heart. And in time, through your pain, you will find healing. Not because you've forgotten, but because you have learned how to carry both love and loss together. And so with every breath, with every choice, with every moment, choose yourself to carve a path towards a more authentic life. You are allowing yourself to exist as you are meant to be, not as an echo of the past, not as a reflection of someone else's expectation, but the fullest, truest version of you. And that is something worth becoming. So take a step, and then another step. Take a moment, and then another moment, because the path will unfold as you walk it. And somewhere ahead, waiting patiently, is the you that was never lost, only the new version of you waiting to be found. So that's all I've got for this episode. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope that you've got something useful from this discussion. And if you have any questions you would like us to discuss on future episodes, then please email me at rethinkingmentalwellbeing@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. So until then, go well, go in peace, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.